Goodness comes and evil goes.
Kimunga Ukombozi, Kimunga Ukombozi, Kimunga Ukombozi, divine liberty, divine liberation, divine freedom, and all that that will bring for African people wherever we happen to be on the face of this earth. Karibu, welcome. My name is Kwende, and today we're going to get into another important subject area, and that subject is Grand Monarchs of Humanity. By divine decree, by orchestration of the ultimate divine, African souls are the primary and spirit people of creation. This special people of centrality are naturally the grand monarchs of humanity, the people that are the original of humanity, the people that are the original civilizers, and of course, the people that produced through their own self-determined effort the greatest and most long-lived civilizations that the world has ever come to know. These special people are thus grand because there is no grandeur that a people produce externally to themselves and not be grand themselves. There is nothing that these special people produce that is divine, that is external to themselves and then are not divine themselves. The outward expression comes from what is output from the source of self. So divinity can produce something that is divine. Greatness can produce something that is great. Grandness can produce something that is grand. These grand people are monarchs, i.e., sovereign and central in the sacred universe. By divine decree, these grand people are grand monarchs of humanity, a natural order of rightfulness, of righteousness that has been with the world from the beginning of the human walk, the human journey. It has been that way for generation upon generation, from era to era. And it's only in this recent state that we currently find ourselves in of interruption, disruption, and all kinds of ills imposed on African souls by others that mean the African ill, that we find African souls coerced outside of themselves to be in a state that is less than their true nature, true natural selves. And as a result of this condition, as a result of this circumstance, African people are left with a skewed view of the world, themselves, and others at the same time. In that skewed view, Africans can be overly concerned with the pursuit of being accepted by the same others that mean them ill. So let us consider for a moment that instead of the focus being on acceptance of others, let's say that we as African souls concern ourselves with the building of our own structures, building of our own nations, building of our own families, and expressing that to the fullest of our capability. And certainly, as spiritual thrust and engagement, this is key. Because if we practice our own spiritual way of life at its accessible level, and one such way to do that is through Asbwak, African spirituality by way of Kwanzaa, we can see and we can develop, we can make manifest, restore that natural status of being that we've had from the beginning. We can see the kingly man of the home. We can then see the queenly woman of the home. We can see the princess of the home. We can see the prince of the home, spiritually rooted and natural roles. Of course, it's only through nationhood that we're able to express the worldly functional role of a serving king, a serving queen, a serving monarchy. But if African souls have the fabric laid out from home to home, live that way of life from home to home, it is only scaled up and natural progression to see that, or to realize that functional monarchy at nation level. So let us embrace our spiritual and cultural fabric of life, our own spiritual way, to realize the maximum fulfillment of the natural African selves. It's by no accident that these special people are the Grand Monarchs of Humanity. And as such, we can draw on that inheritance wherever we are and energize our homes with that grand inheritance. We can energize the person self with that inheritance. We can energize the harmonious and complementary male-female union with that inheritance. We can energize the African family with that inheritance. We can energize the African community with that inheritance, and we can energize African nationhood with that inheritance. And of course, then the African world community becomes energized with that grand inheritance. So know that the African souls as a whole are the Grand Monarchs of Humanity. Draw on that inheritance and imbibe the spirit in our functional lives as best as it is possible to do, so that African souls can build for themselves. Build for ourselves, wherever we happen to be in the world. So with that food for thought, and surely it is food for thought, Kimunga Ukumbozi, Kimunga Ukumbozi, Kimunga Ukumbozi, divine liberty, divine liberation, divine freedom, and all that that will bring for African people wherever we happen to be on the face of this earth.
Divine Madabahuni of love, shrine of self is gift from above. I say